quickly. But the first thing after the outline is reading, and that's sort of the most important part. And you'll notice on the page that it's a textbook page, and some of the text is highlighted and some of it isn't. Stuff that's highlighted is the most important stuff. Again, the first time a student's in here, this is based on the topic level and the depth that is being asked of them by the assignment maker. And these highlights will change as the student interacts with the product. But the first thing they'll see is highlighted text as they go through the chapter. So you can read down, you can go over to the right-hand side, and you can go forward to the next set of highlights. You can just sort of continue reading through the book. Now, what you'll also notice as you do this is that some of the highlights are black and white text, some of them are highlighted, and some of it's grayed out. That is the part that the product is teaching you how to read it. So the black and white text is giving the student some context to the highlighted parts. The highlighted parts are the parts that are the nitty-gritty parts that are based on, again, the topic assignments and the level at which they're supposed to start to do gain mastery. And then the gray and white text is not unimportant. You can always click it and make it black and white to read it, but it isn't the most important thing that a student needs to be dealing with at the time. The most important part is highlighted. The contextual stuff is black and white, and then the sort of other stuff is grayed out. Now, it doesn't mean that grayed out text can't sometime be highlighted if, for example, a student interacts with the chapter and doesn't do terribly well. It might be some amount of stuff that is, prerequisite knowledge for the kinds of things that they need to master. Or it could even be stuff that comes out later and it becomes highlighted later. So all of the text, obviously, in the book is important, but this is the most important stuff that a student needs to see at any given time, based on the depth of the coverage and based on how the student is reacting to the product. So let's read through a few pages, and you'll see different kinds of highlights come, and it's presenting me with the chapter. And it's this chapter is sort of telling me what's important, the kinds of things I need to be reading. And as I go through, I'll just be presented the stuff that is important to me. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was studying textbooks in college, I didn't know well how to read a textbook. So this is sort of teaching the student what is important and what isn't as they go through. So you read through for a while, and you may eventually want to practice. Eventually, in fact, this will start to flash the practice area. It'll say, sort of, tell me a little bit more about what's going on with you and what you've read. So when you click it, you'll be presented with these sort of questions. And now there's many different kinds of question types, but you'll be presented with questions, and you'll also be presented with what we call the metacognitive area, which is just essentially your depth of confidence. It's measuring all kinds of stuff. It's already measuring stuff about me. It's measuring the amount of time I'm taking. It's measuring, if I hover over things. It's just gathering all kinds of information. So this is asking me a question. I'll answer it. I'm not even reading it, so I'm just telling it that I think I knew it, but I didn't. So it knows that. So this is telling the program a lot about what I know and how deep I know it. And as I go on, it'll tell me why something's right or wrong based on what I answered. And I say, okay, so now it's adapting. It's adapting to what I need to know and how I need to know it. So I'm telling it that I'm confident that I knew this one. Well, I was half right. Okay, it knows that. It knows that I know a little bit about that. Different kinds of question types occur, based on the way I'm answering things. Different kinds of questions will be presented to me. It's telling me already that
you need to read a little bit more at this point. If you agree, please click Read and return to the book.
It's telling me that I don't know as much as I think I know. So that's important, obviously, but here's what's happening. As these questions are being presented to me, They're being presented to me in a way that is based on how I've reacted, what I've read. It knows how far I've gotten in the text reading. It also sort of knows the depth of my level. It knows my confidence. It knows all kinds of things about me already, and I've only answered a few questions. So it's asking me to go back and read, and you'll see that this is flashing. That's where I will go. I want to say before we get on, though, the questions as they're presented aren't being presented to me in a, you answered this one right, we're going to give you a little bit harder question, or you answered this one wrong, we're going to give you an easier question. Some of that goes on, but what it's really doing is probing me for my depth of mastery. So as I answer a question correctly and confidently, it's going to start to present me with different kinds of questions that are based around that same area, topic area. And what it'll also do is if I'm really failing in an area, it'll adapt to that. So it never wants to give me something that is just going to make me throw in the towel and quit, but it also wants to make me go through and give me exactly what I need at a given time. That could mean that even if I've mastered a particular topic, but it hasn't talked to me about it in a while, say I did it yesterday, I may log in today and get some of those same questions back. It isn't going to just like pass through the amount of questions it has in it and forget it once I get them all right. It'll give me some of those again to sort of check and see where I am. It'll also sometimes give me some of those if I'm doing poorly in another area, so that I don't just feel deflated. It'll sometimes toss me a softball so that I can go through and feel like I'm actually doing some amount of learning. But again, this adaptive product is a low stakes product. It is not meant to be used as an exam. It's more a learning tool, and it's a true 21st century learning tool based on all kinds of science, and that adapts to every individual as you go. Again, based on the curriculum developer's choice of what needs to be covered. So let's go back into reading. I want to see if my highlights have changed at all. As I go through, you'll notice on either side there's two different kinds of arrows. There's the highlighting arrow, and that'll take me to the parts that are important, and then there's just the page arrow, and that'll just allow me to page through the book just as normal. And as I go through, you'll see again, things are still highlighted, some things are still grayed out, and as I go through, again, I read and read and read. Eventually, the practice button will start to flash again. One more thing I'd like to cover while we're in here. Obviously, as you are learning, you are gaining mastery. The other thing that this product does, it allows you to week over week continue your mastery, and there's a way that you can do that manually, and that's the recharge area. I haven't done enough right now to recharge, so it's saying kind of go through and finish your assignments and that sort of thing. But as you do, say, week one, and maybe you master 100% of what you needed to know, you can move on and to another topic, another chapter. You're studying something new, but it doesn't want you to forget what you've learned already. So you can go back into recharge and do it there. It'll ask you some questions about your mastery level, and it'll keep you sharp so that you don't have to go through and reread every chapter every week. So that is the overview of the adaptive product. So I want to talk a little bit about reports in the adaptive product. There is the current learning status. This is a report that will show how your level of mastery as you've gone through, your topic scores, and that shows you sort of the different topics that you've learned and what you know about them. It's best to look at this in the instructor area, because that's where you guys will be really working. So I'm going to go over here to the performance area and then to reports. As I showed you before, The Learn Smart reports are all at the very bottom. So you'll see here that it presents you with seven different kinds of reports. There's the progress overview. This is student progress broken down by module. It's broken out by student as well. Details, and this is the progress details plus completion level breakdown for each module. Those are two of the most important gradebook-based reports to look at. Other things, though, that you need to know about your class are in some of the other detailed reports, and those are the module details, the missed questions, and the most challenging learning objectives. Those reports will all show you where your class is as a whole with regard to their strengths and weaknesses in topic areas as they go. And that is that with those details. I don't believe that these will show any real results right now, as I don't have any real students in here yet. So, but this is actually important. You can download all of these as CSVs. You can do the same with any of the reports that are in Connect. So that is the overview of Connect. The takeaways, the most important thing is that Connect is a product that looks the same across all disciplines. It works the same way, and that it's simply broken out, and that the adaptive product can be assigned, and that is of great use for the students in their mastery level. It is not meant to be, again, used as a testing platform, but it is about mastery. So they can go through, they can do their assignments. But those assignments are based on the topic levels that the curriculum designer wants to cover, and then they can go in and do their quizzes and tests and get through the course. This assignments area, again, will be broken out in a workflow so that the instructors and the students can see what's ahead of them as they go. So thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact either Matt McGraw-Hill, or your account manager, or me, Damon Jordan. I am your digital learning consultant, and my email is Damon, DAMON, .Jordan, JORDAN, @mheducation.com. Thank you very much.